everyone. We have Konstantin, who has gone through the program, Conscious Capitalism Certification Program. And we will talk about his passion. Konstantin, your passion is education. How does education help us expand or accelerate the change towards a more conscious business ecosystem?
So I think there's, in a very fundamental way, two ways how education helps. And I say two ways because let me, in a simple term, distinguish between two types of education. The first education that I'm talking about initially will be educating on conscious business practices. Mm-hmm. Some of the audience who have heard and had their first experience with what conscious capitalism or similar minded schemes are, they may have witnessed that a lot of it comes through personal experience in your own company, in a company you work for, and you may have had some inputs from a variety of sources. And then gradually, as you get older and you're rising and through the corporate ladder, you become aware that there's different ways how to do business, well, more consciously, and the way we label it. So the education that I'm talking about is educating young next generation leaders at the university level that there is actually a way how to manage business more consciously. That's a more institutional way. And you can imagine there's a variety of ways how you can bring this into the university curricula, public or private. Then there's another education which talks about our more personal education in terms of us as conscious beings, which is one aspect which, because it is not that easy to map and to put a methodology behind it, has a little bit of a less focus in that world of conscious capitalism, because we tend to jump very quickly, and there's nothing wrong with it, into methods that can be applied in business, technologies that are more conscious, that have to do with stakeholder integration, with how to change cultures, etc. But we all recognize, unless we change personally, there's no possible change to the outside. So this one element of personal change is a little bit underdeveloped, but that's not a critique on any movement. It's just for the nature of the beast, just being less apt to be taken into a scheme. Do A, do B, do C, and you'll be conscious in a year. And we all know it doesn't work that simple. So I'm making the distinction between those two types of educations, which I'm passionate about.
And it's nice that you bring that up, because I remember when I first started my own business, you know, when you work for corporate at corporate level or consulting, you come out with that mindset that colleges prepare you for. Once you start your own business, you actually reach out to a different way of doing business, because when you start a business, you believe you can do something better. That's the nature of starting a business. And if I had some educational background on this methodology or on different ways of doing business, not just the traditional Milton Friedman approach that you do business to get more money, but you do business to solve problems, I would have been much faster and developing a stronger team, being more consistent on my delivery. So it is amazing that you bring that up, because we need to bring this content, this knowledge, down to the base where leaders are created, where people start their personal professional journey. So
exactly.
Tell me more. How can we get this? How can we get students or this into the traditional curriculum in colleges?
So I think there's three elements about this, and I'll quickly touch on each three, and then you can choose if you want to go deeper in any of them. So the first is an underlying conviction when we talk about education that whatever the name of the movement, here we talk specifically about conscious capitalism, at some point in time, if you want to go beyond the believers, you need some empirical data that shows the world, the many, many bigger corporations who actually don't only look at, does this really work? So you need some kind of data, academically researched empirical data, to prove the cause. I believe that in the long term, this is unavoidable. You need to establish that base.
Yeah.
That goes hand in hand with education. So that's kind of a first angle to it, which isn't yet going into the classrooms. It's creating an academic ecosystem that looks and researches into these practices and starts to accumulate empirical data, the relevant business cases, and describes them and ensures to all those that are being educated, this really works from an academic perspective. We all know there's always going to be a little bit of gray around it because business is not a science. And there's many, many elements that makes a technique workable or not. But I believe this basis, and my actually personal vision is, we should have a conscious business academy. Starting with one, there should be more. And actually, I think we will eventually have these conscious business academies that foster research and any kind of investigation on this topic. The second is a more classic approach: get it into the classrooms, get into the universities, get in front of students, etc. And there's actually two very fundamental ways. There's probably 1,000 ways, but I'm just simplifying it to two different ones. You can either go, and anybody in the audience can do that, and I'm invite them to do that. If you think this is worthwhile doing, contact your local college, your own alma mater, wherever you studied and you still retain some contacts. Some of them in the audience may even have a co-teaching assignment. I know that many more mature leaders actually like to do that and give back. Engage with them, talk to them, to what degree their way of how to teach business can be enhanced, can be enlarged by more conscious practices. So this is kind of going one academy by one, and work with your own university and college and offer any kind of help so they can include it and amplify the way how they teach business. The other way is to go actually bigger scale and use those leading academics that exist today. And we all know one of the leading ones, who is actually one of the fathers of this specific movement, Raj Sisodia. But if you look closer, there's more. There's more professors, business and economics, who, because what they see made them convinced this is actually a better way how to do business, and they bring it into the classrooms. So one of the projects that I'm trying to put together, starting in Europe, because ultimately it needs to be global, is leverage and engage those academics that already are working on the subject, bring them together, have them create a conscious business syllabus. And I would believe that there eventually would be a full study that exclusively talks about conscious business, and actually have them propose that and actually enlarge that and share that with many, many people. So leverage the energy, the conviction, and the academic background of those people that actually teach this already and bring it together. I really believe, and many of the audience will probably acknowledge, there's a huge power as well in connecting and networking. Think about networking entrepreneurs. Oh, they love it because they have like-minded people that do that, or connecting conscious leaders. Well, the same is going to happen, I'm deeply convinced, if you connect conscious business professors. They teach similar things, etc. So we believe that we probably will look to build a conscious business faculty network at a global scale. Now, there's a third way how you can actually promote that. And it has a little bit to do with the T-shape of education. I just talked about academics going deep, full academics, and developing the whole enchilada of a conscious business syllabus. And that's a program that we're actually about to launch in Europe. The other one is more, you need to scale and be broad. So another way how to bring education to many, many folks is use the power of the internet. And we all know there's ample examples: Coursera, Mind Valley, Khan Academy. Many people that know this is not really innovative, that know how to bring content in a scalable, using micro-learning kind of techniques to a huge amount of people, because it's so accessible, so modular, and so low cost. Now, the academic approach doesn't compete with this one. You're reaching different people. They want to go all in. They really want to go deep, typically students. And in many cases, this has a price point. If you think about the Harvards of this world, let's not fool ourselves. While this is cool, it's not very scalable. How many people go to Harvard or Stanford and can't afford it? So while this is cool, it's not very scalable, unfortunately. And at the mass of universities, they actually move and change very, very slowly. So this is a handicap. So while it's the right thing to focus in the T-shape on the depth and go all in and create a conscious business syllabus, it has its shortcomings. So that's why I believe it needs to be coupled with a scalable, virtual, I like to refer to it as a conscious business MBA or master, where people can very easily get access to an ample curriculum of practices, very modular, very low cost, so they can quickly get educated. And if they want, they then go really deep in one of the areas, conscious leadership or stakeholder integration, there's ample of dedicated courses online or on site where you can actually go very deep in a very dedicated way if you want to. These are the three angles which I believe unavoidably will have to come into place to drive the change.
That's exciting because, you know, if you think about the scalable, Raj has one program available on EDX. I think there are more than 20,000 people have gone through that program already. It's free. If you want a certificate,
I'm one of them.
Yes, exactly. So this is exciting, but we need more. We need more people talking about this. We need different approaches. We have, when you talk about conscious business, conscious capitalism is one option for a conscious business. We have circular economy. We have all other options that can lead us to a more conscious business ecosystem. So we have a free program on conscious capitalism by Raj. We should have more on all the others. And the other thing that you said, that mentioned, which is very important, and it started to pop up, a lot of different assessments. How do you assess a conscious business? And this will bring up data to the market. And from those assessments, as we accumulate data, we have the opportunity to actually take it to a college, to a university, and study it deeper. Because university always wants some data and historical data so that they can actually start working with. And if we accumulate on different ways, we have a lot of different people doing this. So that's a very exciting moment that it's time to take this to the next level. It's beyond just a philosophy for one person, and bring it to the next level. And one of the ideas actually to having certified consultants, as those consultants could actually also act as teachers, bringing case study to the colleges, to the schools, to help people rethink the way they do business, helping entrepreneurs to start businesses with that mindset, with circular economy in mind, with purpose-driven companies, with conscious capitalism, with systemic approach to doing business. You're not just dealing with consumer and supplier, you have the whole ecosystem around us. So amazing. Thank you so much, Konstantin. I think this has been a great conversation about education and how education can actually create or expand or accelerate the change towards a more conscious business ecosystem. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.